everyone, my name is Danielle Quanti, and this is my persuasive topic, and it is about minors who should be able to obtain birth control without parent permission. So just imagine that you are having some extremely uncomfortable pain in your abdominal pelvic region. Girls can testify to this. It is extremely horrible. Period pains. They could be caused just from bleeding out. I know it sounds very graphic, but it is, I don't know how to explain it, but it is what it is, pretty much. Just imagine having that kind of a pain times 10. Imagine trying to get around school with the pain and being able to focus in your classes, and you can't focus in your classes because you're in so much pain. Being in this kind of pain is also due to hormonal issues, and it is, this is why I think that teen girls should be able to obtain birth control without their parent permission, just because it does help with period pains. Unfortunately, this pain does happen a lot for girls who are 15 to 18. It definitely does happen beyond that age region, but it does happen more with them, and a lot of times they don't know exactly what to do with it, so they just kind of take some ibuprofen, or they take Midol, or something that will try and help them, but it never really works. It's always, it just subsides it a little bit, and then it's right back to where it began. But this is why girls should be able to obtain birth control without the parent permission. For one reason, let's move. So first we'll talk about the problem and about obtaining birth control. Then we'll talk about why this happens, and finally we'll talk about potential solutions. So let's move into the problem. So according to CNN, 68% of teens said they agreed with this statement. The primary reason why they don't use birth control or protection is because they're afraid their parents will find out. That number is shocking, to say the least. It definitely does make sense that teens feel that way, because I mean, I felt that way. I did not obtain it without my parents. My parents were there, but it still makes you feel weird about it, and it makes you feel like you're sneaking around their backs. And that's not something you're trying to do, but it's something that you feel like you have to do in order to be able to feel comfortable. Let's say they just don't want to have that uncomfortable talk with their parents, and the parents vice versa. Most of the time the parents want their kids to wait until marriage to have sex, even though it does happen. Teens are still going to have sex no matter what, and you can't really stop them on anything. And another one of the reasons why teens should be on birth control, or not should be on birth control, but should be able to obtain it, is if maybe they do want to protect themselves. They don't want to have an unwanted pregnancy. They want to be able to, you know, have fun without the risk of getting pregnant. Now, granted, birth control isn't 100% guaranteed. It is only 99% guaranteed, but it's still a pretty big chance that you're not going to get pregnant. A lot of times when teens bring it up to their parents about, hey, I want to be on birth control, it's automatically assuming that they want to be on birth control because they are sexually active. However, it could be the case. You'll never know. They could say that they want to be on birth control to regulate their hormones because their periods are so bad. I can agree with them on that one. I've had periods that are so bad that I have almost passed out at school in the hallway. It's not fun. The period pains are very bad. And then some might argue that minors, if they do try to obtain it without parent permission, the doctor will contact the parents and tell them their child is on birth control. However, it's illegal. You can't. It's a doctor clinic confidentiality kind of thing. They're not allowed to tell your parents, no matter what goes on. They can't even tell police. Like, if you were to do something bad, they can't even tell the police about it. They have to have your permission to tell people, and if you don't give them that permission, they will not they will not tell your parents. But now let's look into the cause of this problem. So the cause of this problem is that parents having a religious or moral view on changing hormones or taking anything to prevent the gift of life. According to megmeekerdmd.com, many theologians feel that oral contraceptives or abortifacients, because a pregnancy can occur, and if it does, the embryo can have difficulty implanting in the uterine wall, and thus a miscarriage would ensue. Parents believe this happens. It's old time kind of religion kind of thing, and it kind of takes over their thought process. They don't really think within the whole. They really don't think logically about it sometimes. My parents didn't either. They thought about this exact same thing. Never works. So let's take a look at some solutions to this problem. So it took a lot of guts for that teen to tell their parents. I know it took me a lot of guts to tell my parents that I wanted to be on birth control. It's not necessarily embarrassing, it's more or less the fact that it's awkward. You just don't want to have that conversation or talk with your parents. But it probably took them a lot to come up to you and say, hey, I would like to be on birth control because my period pains are so bad. So as parents, and I know I'm not a parent, but I did do my research, and I did have my mom there with me when I told her. Some things parents can do is, listen with an open mind. You never know what they're going to say. Don't jump to conclusions, because that just makes them feel even more pressured not to tell you. It's better if they do tell you. That way you guys are all on the same page. There's not going to be any finding out later about it or any miscommunication within that. So we've talked about the problem obtaining birth control, why it happens, and the potential solutions. Thank you.